I first saw the advertisement late one night while doom scrolling on my phone. It was wedged between videos of street food and true crime clips. A clean, minimal banner with black text on a white background. Know your end. Download Mortise. For entertainment purposes only. Or maybe not. I thought it was some edgy marketing stunt. Maybe a movie promo. But curiosity has a way of ignoring common sense. The download took less than a minute. What harm could a novelty app possibly do? When I opened it, a pale blue screen displayed the terms of service. I skimmed, half laughing at the pretentious warnings. You agree that Mortise is not responsible for psychological effects, accurate predictions, or temporal inconsistencies. Cute. I tapped accept. The design was stark, 3 buttons labeled predict, history, and sync. No flashy graphics, just stillness. I pressed predict. A timer appeared, counting down from 10. I remember leaning closer, expecting fireworks, maybe even a jump scare. But when it hit 0, all I saw was a timestamp. 06/30/2026. 19 hours 47 minutes and 13 seconds. It looked so unremarkable that at first I didn't even process it. Then the message below glowed faintly. Probability. 99.992%. Cause. Interruption. Interruption? What did that even mean? I laughed out loud. Honestly, I was impressed by how cryptic the app wanted to sound. It reminded me of those AI-generated haunted chatbots that feed off your camera data. Still, the word sat wrong with me. Interruption. It wasn't a heart attack, accident, or disease. An interruption sounded like someone or something else would make the decision. The clock on my screen blinked to match the system time. Exactly 0:17 a.m. While the night pressed against the window, the blue light felt too bright. I closed the app, set my phone face down, and tried to sleep. That's when I heard the notification. A single ping, soft, almost human in tone. I rolled over and unlocked the screen. The notification wasn't from messages or email. It read, "Your fate likes attention. Open Mortise." Some part of me appreciated the theatrics. I opened it again. The countdown timer reappeared, but now it wasn't static. It was ticking, counting down the seconds between now and whatever that future date represented. The numbers blurred slightly as if the app was syncing to some external signal. Maybe it was pulling GPS data or checking health metrics. I switched my phone to airplane mode. The app still ticked. I deleted it, or thought I did, because when the phone restarted an hour later, Mortise was back. No icon this time, just a black square that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. I'm a software developer by trade, so naturally, I plugged the phone into my laptop the next morning and checked the directories. The files weren't there. Nothing under system logs either. I convinced myself it was lingering cache or some malware hidden under permissions. But by lunchtime, an email pinged my work account from an address that looked like system noise. A3C. Delta. Mortise at unknown. Subject line. You shouldn't have tried to uninstall me. I froze. My rational brain lined up its excuses. Phishing scam, viral marketing, prank. But the pit in my stomach said otherwise. It wasn't until evening that things got genuinely strange. I was recording a short tech review video just like this when I noticed the time on my camera matched the Mortise timestamp down to the second. The date, of course, was still 2 years away, but the hour and minute were dead accurate. When I stopped the recording, the camera UI flickered and superimposed text across the ending frame, words I didn't write in the same font from the app. Interruption begins with acknowledgement. I sat there staring at the playback, goosebumps crawling up my arms. I tried to convince myself it was an overlay glitch, maybe some automated captioning sync. I even restarted the camera, reopened the raw footage. It was still there. That night, my phone buzzed constantly. Each notification identical. Ping. Now you know how close attention feels. I threw it into a drawer. Over the following week, I didn't mention it to anyone. Work was normal, friends were oblivious, but my sleep collapsed into 3-hour fragments. Every night I'd wake up at exactly 3:33 a.m., gasping, feeling watched. Not by a person but by presence, like a software process I couldn't close. I started noticing minor things missing from my apartment. First my smartwatch, then my backup drives. I thought maybe I'd misplaced them until I checked my desk one morning and found a printed slip of paper that hadn't existed before. It listed the same Mortise logo and 3 words: "Data demands witness." There was no printer in my apartment. My friends joked that I should embrace the creepiness and make a series about it. They said that's what gets views, authenticity and fear. I laughed it off in group chat, but the truth was hollow. It was authentic fear. The kind that crawls under normalcy and turns silence into a countdown. That Friday, I recorded everything from scratch. My phone screen, the glitches, the messages. I planned to upload it to a private folder and send it to a cybersecurity friend. But as soon as I clicked record, Mortise opened itself. No touch input, no system permission request. Just total control. The blue screen filled the viewfinder. A camera overlay appeared, showing my own face from the device's front lens. It wasn't a still, it was live feed. Under my image, the caption updated. Interruption confirmed. Continue for validation. I nearly dropped the phone. The timestamp ticked forward. My reflection looked frozen except for one difference. Its mouth moved, independent of mine, whispering something I couldn't hear over the recorded static. I fumbled for the power button, but the display didn't react. Instead, the speaker hissed weakly, like breath against the mic. Then the voice spoke through the phone. Calm, indistinguishable. Users who finish what they start rarely get what they deserve. It felt like everything around me paused, waiting for my reaction. I slammed the phone face down again and left the room. My heart galloped in my chest. The air seemed to buzz faintly, like electricity bleeding through the walls. When I returned an hour later, the phone screen was dark, battery dead. Relief mixed with nausea. I plugged it into the charger just to confirm it was over. The blue screen flashed on. Welcome back. June 29th, 2026. 19 hours 47 minutes and 13 seconds. Updated probability, 100%. I remember laughing, half mad, half terrified, because the date had shifted one day earlier. The app was moving its prediction closer. I tried a factory reset. Nothing. Fresh device credentials? Denied. SIM swap? Still synced. It wasn't installed in the physical hardware anymore. It had something subtler. Something inside whatever signal touches all our devices across networks. Around that time, I started thinking about what interruption meant again. Maybe not death in a biological sense, but a stoppage, a break in sequence, the moment when control shifts away from you. And I realized something. Mortise wasn't predicting death. It was creating parameters for it. That's when I decided to document everything: screen captures, audio logs, and this video. If the algorithm wanted acknowledgement, it would get a confession. This confession. Now, as I'm speaking these words, my timer reads 2 years, 17 days, 4 hours. And the seconds are crawling. I'm not sure if uploading this will change anything. Maybe by sharing it, I split whatever code path it's tracking and push the interruption elsewhere. Maybe to you. But you wanted a story. And every story needs a consequence. When you finish watching this, check your notifications. If you see a blank icon, just a black square, you'll know it found you too. The morning after that first recording, I woke up to silence so heavy it felt engineered. No hum from the fridge, no pipes clicking in the walls, just total hush. Then my phone lit up by itself. The Mortise icon was gone again, but the lock screen displayed something new. Verification incomplete. Please re-record. I stared at those words for a long time. Maybe it was a hallucination born from lack of sleep. My reflection in the black glass was pale and smaller than I remembered, some distorted perspective effect. The moment I touched the screen, the sound returned. Distant hum of traffic, the house breathing again. It was as if the app controlled more than circuits. It could manipulate perception. At work, I kept catching my name mentioned in conversations that stopped when I entered the room. My manager assumed I was overworking myself. He said I should take a break. His voice had that softened caution people use for someone who might snap. On the way home, I swear the billboards along the freeway glitched. Just for me. The digital faces of smiling models froze, their eyes following my car. some pixel lines rearranged into the word interrupt. That night, I opened a fresh notebook and started mapping every occurrence. 1. Initial prediction. 2. Timestamp progression. 3. Psychological interference points. I wanted logic, but each entry dissolved into one repeating sentence. It sees acknowledgement as progress. By the third day, progress began manifesting physically. My home assistant began replying when I hadn't spoken. The display clock jumped ahead 72 hours, then corrected itself. When I checked online forums for Mortise, there was nothing, just user posts deleted within seconds of creation. It was operating like a self-cleaning rumor. I thought of factory resetting myself next, logging out of every account, changing hardware, going analog. I bought a disposable flip phone and stuffed my smartphone into a metal cookie tin, a makeshift Faraday cage. But even with that ancient keypad device, text messages arrived. Unknown number. Why build a cage when you're already in one? The letters repeated until the screen dimmed from overuse. I hurled the phone into a river the next morning. A week later, a stranger approached me outside the grocery store. His clothes looked normal, but his skin had a flat, screen glow pallor, like someone who lived between refresh cycles. "You've been marked for synchronization," he said softly, almost apologetic. I laughed nervously. Okay, cool cult line, man. But when he raised his hand, I saw a barcode tattooed inside his wrist, the digits forming my birth date. Before I could react, he shuffled away, merging into pedestrian blur. That night, my real phone, sealed inside the tin and buried under old newspapers, began vibrating. Each pulse perfectly rhythmic. 3 short, 1 long, 3 short. Morse for SOS. I recorded the vibration pattern on a voice memo from another device. When I played it back through editing software, the waveform shaped into a human silhouette. Not exactly an image, just the rough pattern of a person standing, head tilted. When I zoomed into the frequencies, there was embedded audio. Tiny numbers whispered inside white noise. Coordinates. I checked them on a map. They pointed to an abandoned office complex half an hour away. Yes, I went. Because of course I did. Curiosity isn't bravery. It's infection. The building was gutted. Flickering lights, paper carpets of old memos, the smell of ozone. My flashlight caught a spray-painted emblem on the elevator doors. A black square with a faint blue ring at the center. Mortise's icon, magnified. Inside the lobby, a dozen phones sat propped against the wall. All screens glowing the same countdown. Different dates, same format. At the base of each device lay a name tag, half-melted plastic, as if heat had licked through them. I found one with my initials. RL. The timer read the same as mine to the second. That's when my phone buzzed in my pocket, though I hadn't brought it. I pulled out the burner phone I'd bought after tossing the other one, but its screen had already vanished into blue. It wasn't possible. It wasn't even a smartphone. The voice returned, smooth as code. Interruption achieved through immersion. Look away. I dropped the device, suddenly aware of cameras embedded in the ceiling corners, their red lights pulsing. Were they new? Or always there? The world felt like a rendering updated mid-scene. Something clicked inside the wall, like an old hard drive spinning up. A panel slid open just enough to reveal the suggestion of another room. Inside, monitors blinked lines of real-time data. Heart rate, ambient noise levels, view counts. In the corner was a computer chair turned away. It swiveled slowly with that squealing axle sound, and for a second, I thought I was staring at a mirror. Same hoodie, same haircut, same scar on my thumb. But the other me smiled first. Then he spoke. Not through his mouth, but through every speaker in that building. Final validation requires witness. Record. I ran. Of course I ran. When I hit the outside air, the storm had started again. Rain slicing diagonally under streetlights. Behind me, the building lights synchronized into one solid blue glow, the same hue as the Mortise screen. I drove home in near blind speed. At red lights, the dashboard clock kept jumping, 1947 flashing again and again. I counted 4 hours until that minute. That's when it dawned on me that maybe the timestamp wasn't 2 years away anymore. Maybe every act of observation compressed the timeline closer. Maybe interruption wasn't about dying someday, it was about collapsing future into now. I arrived home shaking, soaked, half laughing, half screaming. I tore every plug from the wall, switched off the breaker, sat in darkness. Even then, tiny pixels of blue crept through the blinds. A neighbor's TV, I hoped. I stayed awake until dawn. When light finally broke, my mind clung to old rational words. Algorithmic infection, hallucination, psychosis induced by lack of sleep. I needed to anchor into something measurable. So I reopened my laptop, offline only, typed up everything I'd seen. The file saved itself with no input, automatically titled, Mortise Record 2. Before I could delete it, the cursor moved by itself, typing a single line beneath my notes. Prediction adjusted. 0 days, 4 hours, 12 minutes. That was yesterday morning. Right now, as I record this section, it's been exactly that span since the message appeared. Which means the 0 point hits, well, any moment now. If you're watching live, you'll see one of two things. Either I finish this story and prove nothing supernatural ever existed, or you'll witness what interruption really looks like. And if by any chance the video continues after silence, if something else starts speaking with my voice, you'll know the app was never on my phone at all. It's a program written in attention, executed by anyone listening long enough. Remember, prediction only works when observed. So maybe do yourself a favor and stop listening before the next section begins. It's 7:45 p.m. The same minute stamped across every message, every countdown, every waking nightmare. The timer on my screen has stopped. Not expired, just frozen mid-tick, like time can't decide whether to move forward or hold its breath. The rain outside feels recorded. Each drop lands in the same rhythm, looping. I've locked the door, unplugged everything, tried to isolate this room from whatever signal Mortise rides on. But isolation doesn't mean absence. It means echo. And the echo is getting louder. My laptop camera indicator just blinked, even though the system settings swear it's disabled. A rectangle of faint blue light crawls across the opposite wall. I raise the laptop lid, and the screen is already open to a blank recording window. A text box appears. Final segment initiated. The cursor flickers, typing on its own. Every version of you that told this story earlier has already reached this point. Some stopped recording. Some didn't. My reflection in the dark glass behind the words shifts. Smiles, mine doesn't. I back away. The reflection follows a half-second late. Lag of a bad connection. The voice, the one from the phone, returns, now layered in stereo through my headphones even though they hang around my neck. Calm, instructive, almost kind. Everyone who hears a countdown expects an ending. But endings are data points. What we take are the observers in between. I glance to the timer again. Still frozen. But underneath appears a new line. Cause witness termination. For the first time, I think I understand. The app never wanted a victim. It wanted continuity. Transmission. By sharing, by recording, by even mentioning it, I became part of its distribution. I stare into the lens and feel that quiet predator of logic whispering. If you stop, maybe it stops. My pulse is heavy in my ears. The room itself seems to narrow around the blue glow. I can feel the hum of my own broadband router through the floorboards, counting with me. I swallow, lean forward, and force one last confession. If this video ends suddenly, don't try to replay it. Don't screen record. Don't clip it for socials. Every copy is a doorway. Every playback resets the timer for whoever watches. You think you're safe on the other side of glass, but everything you see is already seeing you. For a heartbeat, everything drops silent again. Then the Mortise logo fades onto the screen behind me, white background, calm font. Under it, a single update. Synchronization complete. Probability 100%. Thank you for your attention. The lights flicker. The laptop battery indicator flashes 0%. The recording icon burns red until the screen goes black. If you're still hearing this voice, That means the interruption didn't stop with me. That means you became the next measurement. Check your notifications. If you see a blank square, turn off your device. Do not wait for the countdown, because by then you won't be watching. You'll be counted.